pretty miserable outside, so what better time to ask Paul? And this question comes from Gary Teta, and he says, I always enjoy your segment on home and backyard. I recently purchased a Maya lemon tree. I have many flowers that smelled heavenly, indeed they do, but I didn't have any lemons develop. I would appreciate any ideas to get some Maya's lemons. Thanks very much for your help. Well, it's actually quite difficult, because if you think of the flower, you have the male parts that produce the pollen. The pollen has to land on the female stigma to allow a kind of fruit to develop. And so pollination, you would actually have to try yourself. So the stigma produces that yellow powdery stuff, which is the pollen, and if you can get, like a little brush and brush that on the female part, which is usually in the center of the flower, you might be able to pollinate it. But having said that, the problem of our winters, the temperature in your house can go up and down, and any change for this tropical fruit might cause the fruit to jettison. It can just drop off, fall off. So I got 1 or 2 lemons on my tree at the moment, but a lot of them just fall off during the winter. And I find usually in the summertime, when you put the tree outside, the insects are much better at pollinating it, and the temper tends to be more consistent midsummer. Well, this question comes from Catherine Polarico, if I've pronounced it correctly, sorry if I haven't. And she asks, why are my large leaves falling off my fig tree? New sprouts are starting while the large leaves are falling off. Well, if you've got a fig tree, like the fruit fig, indoors, typically they want to be outdoors, and they will drop their leaves like most deciduous trees. Our climate, though, is too cold for us to leave them outside, so we keep them inside. So the temperature is going to be higher than they normally want. So even though the light days shorten, the leaves will start falling off. That's its cue for them to drop. But because the temperature is warm, the new shoots want to open up as well. I have fig trees too inside, and they will drop most of their leaves. And as you say, the new shoots start wanting to open. And as long as the days get brighter and brighter, those leaves can develop and they won't fall off again, unless you get into a cold snap or you don't heat your house quite well. Well, this question is from Sally Goth, who lives all the way up in Binghamton. Thank you very much for writing, Sally. What she has is a ficus tree in a pot that is kind of shaped with a narrow opening. So she says it needs to be repotted, which could be the case, because if they get pot bound, they start dropping their leaves very quickly. And she asks about, well, I could smash the pot and then repot it from there, but she likes the pots. So what can you do? Well, in my path, I've used a knife or a saw to saw down the exact, just slightly smaller than this narrowest point, and you're going to cut the roots all the way around. But if you've grown ficus, you'll know that any shock, they're going to drop all their leaves. So, Sally, you're going to have to live with that. You could try that, cut all the way down, and then pull up a little cylinder shape, repot it, and then wait. They will start forming new shoots later on. It might be a while because you've damaged so much of the root material. So you might read somewhere, it says, if you're going to cut the roots and root prune it and make it smaller, you need to cut the foliage up top. But research typically has shown that if you prune the tree up above, it slows the new root growth down the bottom. So don't cut anything on top. And if you do manage to pull out the plant and repot it, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful watering it to get it through that, because it's limited root structure, you're going to have to put a little bit more water on it all. Usually, they reshoot pretty quickly. So fingers crossed, touch wood, I think you might be able to get away with it.
We'll see you next time on Home and Backyard.